Good morning and greetings from Northumberland. The sun is shining and it's the 29th of March. Today is the feast of St. Catherine of Siena, and she's one of those saints that we know about because we hear a name, but we don't know much about because we don't remember it. Of course, if we were in Italy, we would know much more about her because she's the patron saint of Italy along with St. Francis of Assisi. She lived just a bit later than St. Francis of Assisi. She was born in 1347 and died in 1380. You'll have done the maths and realised she was only 33 when she died. Against her family's wishes, she was born in Siena, she joined a third order community of the Dominicans and spent some time in solitude and prayer, and then felt drawn out to caring for the poor. And a group of people gathered around her. They were keen to reform the church, to get the church to concentrate again on the cross of Christ and on the life of Christ in caring for those who were in need. And this met, as often does, some opposition and an awful lot of support. But she became involved. She was a very able person. She became involved in church politics and the resolution of disputes in the church at that time. So here we have someone who was prayerful, someone who spent a lot of time in caring for and looking to the poor, but also someone who was involved in high politics and had a lot of influence on popes and other religious leaders. So she is both a scholar, a thoughtful and prayerful person, and someone who had practical influence upon the life of the church. And so we remember her. We remember her in this way as someone who, as a woman in a man's world, made such a difference. Now that reminds us again of a theme we've been looking at in the last couple of weeks, of the inclusivity that we should find and can find at the heart of the church and the heart of the gospel. That irrespective of gender, irrespective of class, irrespective of race, people are called by God to play their part. And in this time when women often had no power, Catherine, through her prayer, through her spiritual life, through her study, was able to have great influence on the church. I'm going to play during prayer later on a piece by another lady doctor of the church, female doctor of the church, St. Teresa. It's called Christ Has No Body Now But Yours. It's a famous song, a famous prayer, but it also encapsulates Catherine of Siena's view that we each have to work and act for Christ in the world. I'm going to finish with some words of hers from her great work, The Dialogue. The soul begins to lose fear, knowing that fear alone is not sufficient to give eternal life. And so the soul proceeds with love to know itself and God's goodness within, and begins to take hope in God's mercy, in which the heart feels joy. Sorrow for grief, mingled with the joy of hope in mercy, causes the eye to weep, and these tears issue from the very fountain of the heart. To know ourselves, to love God, and to know God's love for us motivates us to live as God's people. May God bless us today.